Hi everyone, hope you're well and good, healthy, strong. Hope you're hanging in there if you're going through a rough patch. Um, so for today, I was very fortunate, lucky, and privileged to be communicated with by a follower on Instagram. And this follower asked me a few questions and asked to see whether I could speak about this particular topic. And I just first of all want to say thank you to the follower for trusting me, for reaching out, and thank you for giving me the opportunity and us, whoever's listening and watching this, to reflect upon a subject I think that affects so many people, an incredible amount of people. So, a basic backdrop to this particular request. So, this particular person is, let's just say, coming to the realization that they're living a life that, if they take a step back from and look upon, is not something that they like. They see that their life at that particular stage of it shouldn't be what is in front of them. And they can't accept that. They can't accept that they've been on this earth for a number of years and not be in a situation where they can look at their life and not be happy. The reality for this particular person is that when they look at their life, when they live their life, they feel sad and they feel depressed. And this person asked a really, really powerful question. And the question was, is this sadness, is this depression a result of a couple of bad decisions in life? Or did Allah, God, you can substitute that word for whatever fits for you, or did God plan for them to be this way and that there's nothing they can do about it and they should just accept this as a reality and move on? So that's what the subject matter is, and this is a response, my response to that. So the first thing I just want to get clear, let's just get the first thing out of the way. In my humble opinion, through my experience, God, Allah, Buddha, karma, call it what you want, does not want to see you sad and depressed. I do not believe that sadness, continuous sadness, and depression, which can be clinically diagnosed, I don't think those things in any shape or form should be taken as acceptable. And I do not believe God wants anybody to be continuously sad and depressed. I think every human being is unique and is brought into this world with a particular purpose, and that purpose is not to be sad or depressed. So I just want to get that completely out of the way. This is just my opinion. I am not a psychologist. I am just a person who thinks, feels, investigates, and is curious. I mean, if I could use one word, I'd just say I'm curious. I'm a curious person about a lot of things that I have gone through, and that curiosity has taken me to places and helped me find certain things, and I'm just sharing them with you and with anybody who may gain from it. It is not my job to convince you. It is not my job to argue with anyone. I'm just going to share with you what I see and what I've discovered. And I've discovered that each human being is magnificently unique and has something to offer, and you can't offer that uniqueness if you're continuously sad and you're continuously depressed. There's something wrong there, and you need to address it. Your question, or the question, also plays about with a higher theme that I'd like to speak about and flow with. And that is a question of fate and destiny. It also connects to the question of free will and destiny. So the question that was asked touches upon those variables. So when it comes to free will and destiny, so the person was saying, is my sadness and depression, is my unhappy life because of bad decisions I made, or is it just Allah's desire that I go through this? That's sort of like saying, is what I do, is the life I live a result of my actions, whether I make good decisions or bad decisions, or is it destined by an entity higher and above that this is the case and that's it? Now, obviously, this is an age-old question. Civilizations, as far back as time goes, have discussed this. Some people are on the free will side, some people are on the destiny side. My take on that is that there must be space for both. I think it was Al-Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, I think it was him, who said, in translation, your walking on the earth is not like you're falling upon it. So I think that's his way of saying you choose to walk from A to B. That's your choice. That is your free will. But you didn't choose to fall. You didn't choose to fall and break your arm. That just happened by accident. So you were destined to fall, but your walking is your choice. And I think that's a pretty good way of explaining that it's a little bit of both. So to go back to my friend with the question, you may have made some bad decisions. Welcome to the real world. We've all made plenty, and we will continue to make bad decisions. We're not perfect. But those bad decisions were a result of your choosing things that shouldn't be chosen. Maybe you held on to something that you needed to let go of. Maybe you didn't spend enough time holding on to something that you should have held on to longer. I'm not too sure. But it was a decision that you made, and that might have taken you to somewhere that is not nice. No problem. What you do with that is your problem. If that makes sense. You may have made the wrong decision. It happens every day and it will continue to happen. But what you do with that mess is a question of what you choose. So it's a bit of both. You do have free will and you have a destiny. Another nice way of playing about with this variable is through some of the work I've come across from Michael Meade. If any of you get a chance to follow Michael Meade with Mosaic Voices, there's a free podcast, a wonderful offering of wonderful information. But one of his books is called Fate and Destiny. I highly recommend it. And just a very, very brief definition of fate and destiny. And this is all from my exposure to Michael Meade's material. So in summary, obviously I can't speak on his behalf, but from my understanding from reading the book and following all the podcasts that I've gone through, he says that fate is that which you cannot change. So, for example, I was fated to be born to my parents. I was fated to have this big Arab nose. I was fated to be from the United Arab Emirates. Those are things that I could not choose. I was fated to have it. And things of fate tend to be limiting. You're limited to a place that you were born in, a city that you live in, whether you have one brother or two brothers, blue eyes, green eyes. That's a question of fate. It's limiting. The opposite of the limiting factor of fate is destiny, according to Michael Meade's book and material. And destiny is the opposite of a limit. Destiny is transformation and specifically transcendence. You are the opposite of limit. You are going somewhere that is limitless, somewhere that is boundless, somewhere that can take you to a magnificently expansive reality where sadness and depression cannot survive. It's like a germ that cannot live on a high altitude in the mountain. There's certain things that just, because it doesn't have sadness and depression, that kind of thing doesn't have the what it's feeding it. It can't survive at a higher altitude, so it's just not there. But that's a question of destiny, and destiny is a question of your free will. Fate is not. You didn't choose who you are, or yeah, you didn't choose, yeah, who what your name is. Your parents most probably did. You didn't choose your nationality. That's all fate. But destiny is a question of your free will. So to my friend, you may be in this awkward position of sadness and depression, and maybe that's a question of your fate, but what you do with it is a question of your free will. And I do remember Michael saying that your destiny, and this is a really big deal, a really, really big deal, at least for me, your destiny is found in your fate, not away from it, inside your fate. And that is probably the least place you would expect to find it. So what if I told my friend, who was kind enough to share this this position with, what if I told you that your destiny, the thing that will elevate you to a higher platform, what if I told you it's probably found in your sadness, in your depression? What if I told you that your fate will come because of your sadness and because of your depression, not in spite of them? For that to be the case, you need to take a step back and look at that sadness and look at that depression, go back somehow and engage those bad decisions and just sit with it for a while. You may need some help. If the depression is of a very, very high level, please do not be too proud to ask for help. Like I said, I'm not here to solve your problem. I can't. I don't know you. I don't know your background, and when you say bad decisions, I don't know what those bad decisions are. All I know is I've made bad decisions, and bad decisions will be made every single day. If the state of your depression and sadness is something that is robbing you from your health, please seek some type of advice, some type of medical, perhaps, help. But sometimes all the medicine in the world cannot take away something inside you that has to do with your soul. I don't think modern medicine has or ever will reach that level, which is why people seek more natural, alternative medical assistance. But my advice is to remember that I don't believe God wants to see you sad and depressed. I think there is something within that. And if you accept your fate and you accept, well, this is where I am, and you look a little closely into it, maybe you'll find a thread. You'll find a thread that leads you to somewhere else. And that somewhere else will lead you to somewhere where you may be introduced to your destiny. Maybe you already have been introduced to your destiny. It's just that you never called it that. I just know from experience, from my own experience, my destiny always did actually come in from that darkness, from the darkness of a depression, from that darkness of a sadness, that I just had to look at it a little more closely to find something that would take me to a much better place. I believe you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be healthy. Not every day is going to be a party. There's good and bad days, but you should not, as a norm, you should not be sad and depressed, and you should not accept that as God's will if you have the full ability to pursue your destiny. I wish you all success. I wish you all acceptance of your fate, and I wish you all an embrace of your wonderful, magnificent destiny that awaits you if you are brave enough to face it. All the best. See you soon.